Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This webinar will start momentarily as we allow some folks to join us. If you experience any technical issues, please try logging out and logging back into this webinar. If we experience any technical issues on our side, please allow us 5 minutes for a resolution. And with that, let's get started. Everyone, again, welcome to our study tip using your CFP Board Practice Exam webinar. My name is Meredith Bonington, and I'm a marketing specialist here at CFP Board. I'm joined by my colleague, Amanda Zapata, who is our senior marketing specialist. The CFP Board Practice Exam provides a replica of what you will see on exam day and is a great tool to add to your study plan. This webinar will review how to get the most out of your free practice exam that comes with your exam registration, including how to access it, what it looks like, how to use it, and what information you'll receive when you complete it. After our presentation, we'll briefly review other exam preparation resources available from CFP Board. Then we'll have some brief time for a Q&A if you have any questions. You can submit a Q&A question through the question and answer chat box on the Zoom bar below your screen. CFP Board offers 2 practice exams that you can use as a part of your preparation. One practice exam is free with your exam registration, and you can access it after you register in on your online account. CFP Board practice exams are a replica of the CFP exam. Our practice exams are hosted on Prometric, the same exact exam software utilized on exam day. While taking the practice exam, you'll notice a clock set for 3 hours per session, 6 hours total. This is the same amount of time that is allotted for the 170 questions on the real CFP exam. If your time runs out, so will your access to the practice exam, so please make sure you are allocating enough time to sit down and take the practice exam as if you are in a real exam setting. You'll have 24-hour access period to complete your practice exam once you start it. So this means if you launch your practice exam, you can close it out and return to it within that 24 hours. However, please keep in mind that you only have 6 hours of testing time when you are active in your practice exam. You can review the solutions to each question on the practice exam by selecting the solution button below the question text. Similar on the live exam, once a subsection is complete, you are not able to return to the previous subsection. Once the practice exam is submitted, the solutions are no longer available. Many questions have appeared in previous exams and are now retired for the inclusion for the CFP Board practice exam. The 170 questions represent the full range of topic areas on the current CFP exam. And upon completion, you'll receive a diagnostic score report. This result report will provide your performance relative to the principal knowledge domains and can be a useful tool by identifying knowledge gaps to better target your studying more effectively. Now, my colleague Amanda will walk through how to access this resource and what to expect when you start your practice exam.
To access your practice exam, log into your CFP account at cfp.net/login. Once you are logged in, click on the link to take your practice exam, which you should see at the top of your account, like you see in this top screenshot. If you don't see that at the top of your account, you can go to the exam section of your account and scroll down. In the Prepare section, you will see a link to click on to access your practice exam. Once you get to your practice exam portal, you will see your practice exam history and any active practice exams you have to take. When you are ready to take your practice exam, click on the Get Practice Test button. Please note that you only have 24 hours to complete your practice exam once you start it. So do not click this button until you are ready, as we cannot reset the 24-hour timer. And a reminder is what Meredith just said, that once you are in your practice exam, you only have 6 hours of testing time, but if you close out of the practice exam, you can reaccess it within that 24-hour period. This shows what it looks like after you click the Get Practice Test button. As mentioned before, you can leave and come back to the practice exam within the 24 hours, and your account will track and tell you the complete by date and time before it expires. Once your practice exam expires, you cannot go back to it and we cannot reset it. Once you complete your practice exam, the status will change to completed. You will not be able to go back into your practice exam at that point. Once you launch your practice exam, you will be asked to confirm your name details and then accept the terms. After you confirm your name details and accept the agreement, you'll see a welcome screen that goes through the exam details and what to expect in the setup of the exam. And you'll go through a quick tutorial before you start the question. This will review the features of the practice exam to help you along the way, like flagging questions for review, striking through answer choices, and highlighting question text. Examples of practice exam questions and features you can see here on the screen. You can see a timer at the top, the options to select question resources such as formulas, tax tables, solutions, and a built-in basic calculator. This is an example of being shown the solution for a question. If you want to review the solutions to a question, you have to do it question by question on the practice exam. The practice exam will not automatically show you solutions, and once you complete each subsection, you cannot go back to review the questions and solutions. This is what it looks like when you open one of the question level resources. A pop-out screen will appear with that resource and the question will still be displayed. Note that on exam day, you will not receive paper copies of these resources, so it is good to practice using them on screen. This is an example of a case study. You can see that at the top, it refers to how many questions are associated with the scenario. When you are in a case study, you can see one additional question level resource will appear, so that way you can select case to bring up the case study scenario again. The practice exam mirrors the same format as the real exam, so you will see the same setup related to subsections. 43 questions in subsection 1A and 42 questions in subsection 1B. Once you submit your questions for subsection 1A, you cannot go back to those questions. This also means that you cannot go back to review solutions for this set of questions. Again, this is a great resource to really put yourself in the mindset for taking the exam and to do a full mock practice exam. You'll see that after you press continue to move past section 1A, you will get a prompt letting you know if you have unanswered questions or questions that you have flagged and confirming that you still want to continue or go back to review. You will get plenty of warnings that you can no longer go back to the set of questions you are leaving. You will also have the option to take an unscheduled break. Like on the live exam, if you do take an unscheduled break, your timer will not stop for the 3-hour section. And again, one last warning that you are leaving. This will also appear like this on the real exam. Each subsection will give you the same warning saying you're leaving this subsection. Are you sure you're finished? When you get to the end of subsection 1B, then you will start your scheduled 40-minute break. If you click resume test, your test will resume and the timer will also resume. So please note, only click resume test if you do want to continue, as you cannot pause the timer again. Just like on the live exam, you will have survey questions at the end to answer before your results report is provided. And to finish the practice exam, you'll click Finish Test in the upper right-hand corner. You'll see this button on all screens, but only click Finish Test when you are ready to be done with the practice exam. You cannot go back to the practice exam after you click this button. So again, remember to click Finish Test when you are completely done so you can see your practice exam marked as completed in your account, and this ensures you also get your results report sent to your email. Your diagnostic results report will be emailed to you shortly after clicking the Finish Test button, and you'll see a screen like this as well. Upon completion of your practice exam, you'll receive a diagnostic results report that looks like this image that you see on the screen. This report will show you where you stand on each principal knowledge domain. This report can help you prioritize what content to spend more time on and give you a holistic view of your strengths and weaknesses. We recommend you use your practice exam early to get the most out of this report in order to target your studying effectively. And like I mentioned before, also, recommend putting yourself in the mindset of taking the exam, setting aside 6 hours or 7 hours with that 40-minute break in between, but setting aside time during the day to actually sit down, put yourself in the mindset of taking the exam and using it as a true mock exam experience.
Thank you, Amanda. Now we will quickly review other CFP exam preparation resources that are provided by CFP Board. You can view all the resources we go over here today and more at cfp.net/exam resources. First resource I'll cover today is our candidate exam toolkit. This resource really focuses on helping you study for the exam, and it outlines best practices for a successful exam prep process. The toolkit also details tips on creating a supportive learning environment, developing a test strategy, and outlining the CFP Board learning objectives. As you study for the CFP exam, it may be helpful to consult this resource to help structure your study plan. The next resource I'll discuss briefly today is the Candidate Exam Handbook. While the preparation toolkit focuses on helping you study for the exam, our CFP Exam Candidate Handbook focuses more on what to expect on exam day. So here you can think of our Candidate Handbook as your guide to the CFP exam day process. You'll find information on what to expect, such as registration and scheduling deadlines and other related policies. So this includes, like I mentioned, everything for registration, exam preparation, what to expect on exam day, what to expect after the exam, an overview of our principal knowledge topics, and also some more information about the CFP Board Mentor Program if you choose to join, including the Mentee Success Toolkit. To view these exam resources and receive more information, again, please visit cfp.net/exam resources. On this page, we also feature many other resources such as an exam prep checklist. We outline habits of successful candidates, and we also have available to you tax tables and formulas. And it looks like we now have some time for Q&A. So if you haven't already, please enter any questions you may have in the chat so that I can read them out and Amanda and I can answer them. If by any chance we don't make it to your question today, or if you think of a question later, please email getcertified2024@cfpboard.org with your question, and we'll make sure that a team member will be in touch with you shortly. All right, it looks like we have our first question in the chat. Is there another CFP exam, practice exam available for purchase? Yes, there is a practice exam too available to purchase on your account. Someone else has a question. Are we guaranteed to be provided by Prometric a real paper and pencil, not whiteboards, etc.? Amanda, would you happen to know the answer to this question?
I believe you can request paper and pencil, but we'll double check with our exams team and get back to you on that one. I also have some questions about viewing solutions and does that take away time from your practice exam timer. The timer does not stop. So if you do want to review solutions, you would want to include that as part of the timer that is counting down. Also, another question about reviewing the solutions, the questions and solutions after you click that finish test button to finish the practice exam. Unfortunately, you cannot go back to see the questions and solutions after you've completely done the practice exam. So if you want to be able to review the questions and the solutions and rationales at any point, you have to do that while you are taking the test. But again, you do not have the opportunity to go back in and review the entire 170 questions after you've completed the practice exam and you've clicked that finish test button. Another question about how the subsections work and if you can go back and forth between subsections. So the exam is broken down into 4 subsections. So in your first 3 hours, you have 2 subsections. Then you have a 40-minute break. And then your second 3 hours, you have another 2 subsections. Each subsection, think about it as essentially a unique experience. Once you move past that subsection, you cannot go back to it. So while the first 2 subsections are included as part of that bigger 3-hour timer that you have for the first half, again, you cannot go back and forth between subsections. So once you leave a subsection, you cannot go back to it. I hope that's helpful and clarifies, but let us know if you still have questions. Like Meredith mentioned, there are additional practice exams, or there's one additional practice exam available for purchase. When you go to your online account, you log in. On the side of your account, there's a link. I believe it says online store, but you can purchase an additional practice exam. It is a different set of 170 questions, same setup, but a different set of questions that you can purchase through your online account. Again, about the solutions, you have to review the solutions per subsection. So once you move past the subsections, you can't go back to them. So again, if you wait until the end of the exam to want to review all of the solutions, you won't be able to do that. Another question about like a question bank to use during studying. CFP Board does not provide an open question bank. We do provide these practice exams set up as more of a mock exam experience, but they're not necessarily set up, I think, in what review course providers offer in terms of question banks. These are more set up in the actual testing format. Another question, is it possible that some of these practice questions will be on the actual exam? All of the questions that are used on our practice exams are retired. So most of them have previously shown up on real live exams, but these ones are all retired and would not show up again. The cost for the second practice exam, the second practice exam is $249. And again, you can purchase that through your online account. We have a question actually about the 40-minute break during the actual live exam day. About, do you have to use the full 40-minute break at the Prometric Center, or can you resume, for example, after 20 minutes? You can resume at any time that you would like to if you don't want to take the full 40-minute break, but just keep in mind that you can't stop again. So if you accidentally click that resume test button before you're ready, you're locked in. The test center administrators are not going to be able to stop it again for you. Just be very cognizant of making sure you're ready if you are starting earlier, or just, you go to your 40-minute break, but just make sure you don't touch that button if you're not ready to continue on. A question here just to confirm, if we were to exit the practice exam at the scheduled break time, we would still have the 24-hour window to complete the second half. So that is correct. So you have 6 hours of testing time set aside for you for taking the questions. If you want to exit the practice exam to come back to it later, just click like the X button on your browser window. Don't click finish test. And there's no button that says like resume later. So just click like exit your browser, and then you can go back into your account and launch your practice exam again. And that's where the 24 hours comes into play, where if you just completely exit out of the tool, you can come back to it within that 24-hour period. So I hope that's helpful. But again, once you're like actually in the practice exam and you're taking your questions, completing your questions, that's where that 6-hour timer comes into play. Meredith, we have a couple questions on where the practice exam is located on the website. What's the best way to get to that?
Yes, so we have there's definitely a few different ways you can access it. Although if you are registered for the exam, we do send out reminders to use your practice exam. So if you receive those emails, we directly link to exactly where you can access it on your account. Otherwise, to access your practice exam, if you log into your CFP Board account at cfp.net/login, and once you're logged in, you can click on the link to take your practice exam, which should be at the top of your account, as we showed in our fourth slide of this presentation. There is a next step, prepare for the exam banner that should be featured on your dashboard. And if you don't see it at the top of your account, you can also go to the exam section of your account and scroll down. In the prepare section, you'll also see a link to access your practice exam. And of course, if you have any difficulties accessing it, you can feel free to email the Get Certified 2024 inbox or reach out to our exams team at exams@cfpboard.org.
Meredith, we have a question on determining how many questions for a scenario or case study question. Are you able to go back to like slide 13 easily by any chance?
Oh, of course. Let's see here.
And while Meredith's finding that, because we had a question on how to determine the number of questions for the case study. So while she's going back to that slide, I'll answer a couple other questions. A question, are the questions on the free practice exam the same as the questions on the one that you can purchase? No, there would be a different set of 170 questions. Okay, so this is how you would tell. You see at the very top, it says the next 2 questions refer to the information presented below. So if there were, if this was a longer case study and there were 6 questions referenced, for example, it would say the next however many questions. And then, Meredith, if you want to go to the next slide, then what you would see is that you could bring up, there's a button here that says case, where you can bring back up the scenario that's related to this question. So that way you can see, related to the question at the same time, what is the scenario that you're working off of. For the practice exam, a question about scoring, does it indicate whether we would have passed or just a breakdown by topic area? It is just a breakdown by topic area. It does not indicate any sort of pass or fail result. Another good question here about, are the 4 subsections topic specific, or is the whole task commingled with all of the domain areas? The whole task is commingled with all of the domain areas. So it's not broken down into just an investment section or just a tax section, anything like that. All of the practice exam is representative of the domain areas that you would see on the exam and the percentage of domain areas that you would see on the exam. So you'll get everything. And just a question about, is this information posted or it will be posted as a recording? Are there are other exam webinars posted? Yes, all of this will be posted to our YouTube channel. And so we'll make sure we get this up, as well as the What to Expect webinar for the March exam that was held a couple weeks ago. So we'll make sure all of that's posted on our YouTube channel within the next week. And we'll also send out a quick email to everybody who attended today, just letting them know that the link is available. We have a lot of questions about timing to take the practice exam. I think that it's going to depend on your study plan. Like we mentioned in the webinar, one of the best opportunities for using the CFP Board practice exam is that you do get that diagnostic score report showing you strengths and weaknesses across the different domains. So you can use that as a tool as you're preparing to say, this maybe is a weaker area. Let me make sure that I'm studying that area before my exam day. So that's a great opportunity to use this early on. And then we have the second practice exam, if you want to take that closer to your exam day, where you can use it as more of a mock exam experience if you wanted to do that type of thing, or just as a checkpoint to say, okay, I brought up that weaker area. So I think it's going to depend on your study plan. I know a lot of candidates use review courses that also help you build those study plans and build in when to take the CFP Board practice exam. So I would just make sure that you're utilizing this tool overall. But Meredith, I don't know if you have any other insight into when to take the practice exam.
Yeah, pretty much just mirroring what Amanda said. We do encourage folks to use it early, to use it as a diagnostic resource where you can really gauge and target your knowledge gaps. But again, it is ultimately up to you on how you choose to use this. We just see it as an important resource to consider in your study plan and your exam preparation strategy.
Meredith, are there any other questions that would you like to answer? I think I saw a mentor question. How do you access the mentor program?
Certainly. So if there's anybody interested in the mentor program, feel free to go to cfp.net/mentor. You can also email the mentor@cfpboard.org email, where I can assist you with any questions you may have. Essentially, the mentor program is an online platform that connects candidates for preparing for a CFP exam with a CFP Board professional mentor. These are CFP professional volunteers who have opted in to want to support candidates as they prepare for the exam. So while mentors aren't necessarily a tutor or anybody to guide you on exam preparation content, they are there for you to learn from their unique experiences preparing for and taking the CFP exam. So anything from learning time management, putting together a study plan, how to tackle areas that maybe you are weaker areas for you. How to have a dialogue with your employer on employer support, things like that, where someone who has walked in those footsteps before can help guide you. We have 3 different cohorts aligning with each of the 3 CFP exams throughout the year. And you can, once you enroll, there's a brief enrollment questions. You can feel free to start requesting mentors on our candidate forum website. So again, that's cfp.net/mentor if anybody's interested. And if you have any specific questions, you can email mentor@cfpboard.org.
Cool. Thanks, Meredith. There are a couple questions here that I'd like to verify with some of my colleagues who are not part of this webinar right now. So we will get back to you, specifically some questions around some of the exam day process, like what will you need on exam day to log in and access the exam. I know for sure you'll need your government issued ID with you when you go to the Prometric Center, but we can definitely get back to you on exactly what to expect and bring on exam day. A couple other questions about there was another question here about scratch paper, so we'll get back to you. And just making sure exactly what to expect on exam day. We'll make sure we get back to you. So again, if there are questions that we're missing, I just want to reference, make sure we have exactly the right information to provide to you, and we'll definitely get back to you shortly on that. Oh, remote testing. That was the other thing. Remote testing. I can definitely send you more information post-webinar about that as well.
And it looks like we're at 2:30, so it looks like that's all we have for time. But again, Amanda said we will definitely be in touch, and feel free to email that Get Certified at 2024 email inbox with any other questions you may have. Thank you for attending this webinar. Again, we here at CFP Board are here to support you on your path to CFP certification. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.